Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Andrew. Today I'm going to give you guys a review of City of Brass by S.A. Chakraborty. I am going to briefly touch on my expectations going into this book, and then I'm going to do my review as I did in my last video and hopefully plan to do in all reviews going forward, and that is discussing the plot, the writing, the characters, the atmosphere, and my enjoyment of the book. And I will discuss whether that enjoyment was high, medium, or low, and then I will tell you if I recommend it or not. And yeah, let's just get into it. So before I picked this up, I was super hyped for this book. I actually picked this for my book club that I started for this year. I was so excited to start a book club and pick a book, discuss the book, and I feel very happy that I picked this. This was I don't actually remember who the first person I was that discussed this. It was probably Murphy Napier, because she's the first person I ever discovered on BookTube and blah, 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 like whatever. I'm pretty sure she's the first one I saw even discuss what this is. Since then, I have seen multiple other booktubers rave about this book. I have seen others be super disappointed by this book. So I was like, I don't really know. And then I went to the bookstore and I saw that this book is blurbed by Laini Taylor, okay? And if you can see right here, Strange Dreamer is displayed on my shelf. It was my favorite, one of my top 3 favorite books of last year. So then I was like, oh my God, I'm so hyped. So I was very, very excited to pick up this book. Super excited to pick up this book. I'm gonna say this, so we're gonna get into it, okay? I'm gonna talk about the plot and all those things. So the plot of the book is that you're following Nari, and she kind of accidentally summons this Jinn, and the Jinn is like, hey, I'm going to take you to Davabad because you need to go to this city of other Jinn, or Deva, which is like another word for genie, kind of like, we need you to go to the city and we need you there. So we're going to take you there. And tell me why I have read this, discussed this, took notes while reading it, and I just I can't. To me, these characters, unfortunately, were quite forgettable and kind of carbon copy characters. But the world building in this book, which isn't, I guess we could kind of tie that in with atmosphere, the world building is really good, and I really enjoyed that part of it. And I really like S.A. Chakraborty's writing. I enjoy the way that she writes and certain sentences that I think she has really good writing. So if she writes something, I think she's writing a new book in the same world. If she writes something outside of this world, I would check it out probably. But for me, the characters in this book were just kind of bland. And by the end of the book, I think I liked Ali more than Nari. But at the beginning, I was enjoying Nari more than Ali. And I think that Ali is a very fascinating exploration thing to do in a story. And I really liked his kind of arc, if you will, and just what happened, especially towards the end. There's a whole scene that I really enjoyed, but this was kind of a disappointment for me. So, but I was able to discuss it with other people on my whole, we had a whole meeting about it, and we met and discussed it. And some people gave it a 2, some people gave it a 5, and I was kind of in the middle. I was at a 3, and I'm not gonna give it a 3.5. I'm right at a 3. And my biggest gripe is the characters, but the writing is really good. I think the plot is pretty good, and the atmosphere is really good. But my enjoyment was medium to low, and mostly because of the characters. But I was just kind of confused, and not by these. I went to S.A. Chakraborty's website. I don't want it to seem like I just didn't give this a chance, because I definitely gave it a chance. I definitely was reading about all the different Jinn, trying to make sure I understood. There's a whole entire glossary in the back of this book, and I was constantly referencing that to understand what these political machinations are. And I don't know if political fantasy is for me. I'm still in a way trying to figure out my taste and what I love in fantasy. I know what I enjoy now, but I couldn't tell you in a whole video of what I love reading about in fantasy. I just couldn't do that at the moment. But I just know this was not a favorite for me at all, and I'm probably not going to continue the series. And I really want to try to have more coherent thoughts on this, because I did find the plot and what's happening around Nari and Ali interesting, and I thought that Nari didn't really show kind of her motivations until the end of the book for me, and like the beginning of the book very much just felt like things happening to the characters as opposed to characters making decisions for themselves. That is probably my biggest gripe with this book, if you will. So I don't really have a whole lot to say because I didn't super love this book, and I hopefully I'm going to make it somewhat clear in the thumbnail because I don't want people who love this book to come here and see a negative review. I love people when you enjoy a book. Like, I am so happy for you. I'm so happy for you. I have plenty of books that are my favorites that people do not enjoy, and that is okay. That's totally fine. So I am really interested if anyone else has not enjoyed this, if there's any other Middle Eastern like folklore kind of books that you did really enjoy. Some that I already know of that I want to try are Rebel of the Sands. I still want to read that, and I want to read some more Renee. I want to read, not more. I've never read a Renee Audier. I want to read The Wrath and the Dawn, and I know there's more, but I would love any recommendations. Like, those are just some I already know of. So if you know of any more, please recommend them to me. I was disappointed by this. I think because a lot of stuff, the way it was written, just to me it just didn't connect with me. It didn't come clear to me. Like, it wasn't, would I ever reread this? I don't know. Maybe if I become a different kind of reader, or I just become more able to handle high fantasy, because for me, it's kind of a struggle at the moment. And this was just a lot. So maybe I'm just not ready for this kind of book yet. But I know people who are, and they didn't like it. So you know what I mean? Like, I just kind of have to accept that maybe that it's valid for me to say this was a disappointment and call it a day and just let you guys know. I still would recommend this book because I know plenty of people who have given it 4 or 5 stars and really enjoyed it. So I would still recommend it. I wouldn't really recommend it if you are super wanting to get attached to characters. And I say that, and I already am kind of like, but just because I didn't connect with these characters doesn't mean you won't. So I mean, you kind of just, you just kind of have to read for yourself, unfortunately. But so those are my thoughts on this one. I would love to know your thoughts. If you have read it, plan to read it, don't plan to read it, let me know in the comments. Yes, that is it for this one. So I will leave my Instagram, Goodreads, and Twitter all in the description for you to check out if you feel so inclined. And I hope you're having a great day. Bye.